Good morning, class 12th. Children, we will be starting with the life cycle of Plasmodium today, as we discussed earlier. But before that, let me tell you, last time when I taught you about various diseases, infectious diseases, two diseases were there which were not present in book, but they were pretty much there in your syllabus. So I am going to include them. There's a request that you please add on these diseases too in that same list, right? As you can see here, the first disease that is to be mentioned is diphtheria. It is a bacterial disease, dear, and must understand that diphtheria is caused by Corynebacterium bacterium diphtheriae. The name is easy to be understood if you just learn Corynebacterium bacterium, because otherwise the species name is diphtheria and you just add on an e to that. That's all, right? So Corynebacterium bacterium diphtheriae. The thing is, before we go with the symptoms and all, must remember that this disease is due to basically, if we say that this is something that goes with the unhygienic conditions, right? Because this is also a droplet infection, the way you studied about common cold and you studied about pneumonia and all those were droplet infection, respiratory droplet infection. So sneezing and coughing was an issue. So hygiene, sanitation, cleanliness, masking and isolation, everything is to be included here. But first of all, let us go with the symptoms. The symptoms include sore throat, because this is a respiratory disorder. So in that case, you just remember that it will be including sore throat, fever, swollen lymph nodes, short breath, and weakness. Any two that you are able to remember, just keep that in your mind. And then we go with the prevention. Last time I did not mention this, but now I am mentioning that though you are during prevention, you are not supposed to mention the name of the treatments like having this antibiotic or having this injection or something like that, but mentioning a vaccine as a mode of prevention, yes, very much correct. Why? Because vaccination is done prior to the disease, right? You don't wait for the disease to occur. It's just that you make your body so strong with the antibodies for that particular disease. So vaccination can be included in a measure as prevention, right? So here the prevention of diphtheria is the vaccine, which is a combined vaccine. Basically complex vaccine is the, that is DPT. Sometimes it is written as DTP and sometimes it's also written as DTaP, right? The full form here is diphtheria, T for tetanus and P for pertussis. Pertussis is whooping cough, right, children? So just understand that it is a clubbed vaccine, which is actually a combination to target three different diseases. So diphtheria, vaccination for diphtheria is very much there in the prevention measures. And apart from that, just keep in mind then that this is a droplet infection. So masking, isolation, sanitation, cleanliness, everything, I mean touching, preventing that direct contact with the patient, everything will be included in the prevention, right, children? The second one here is plague. If you can see, when I was very small, at that time I heard about plague. Plague is a disease which is generally vector borne, right? This is also a bacterial disease, and the bacteria that causes plague is Yersinia pestis. You have to learn of the name. I can't do anything about that, but this is a vector borne disease. That means it is not going to be spread by touching or coming in contact or isolation or so, blah blah, right? What you have to see here is that vector borne disease, that means some kind of carrier is bringing the disease to you. In that case, this time we will not be talking about only mosquitoes, rather we will be talking about the other pests like rodents, rats, insects, cockroaches, squirrels, right? All these are, I mean, these are the carriers for bringing the disease to you. And then if you can see, plague can be categorized as under three categories: bubonic plague, then septicemic plague, and then pneumonic plague, depending upon the area of attack, depending upon the area that is being affected in your body, right? If we say bubonic plague, that means we are referring to the swollen lymph nodes, because swollen lymph nodes are known as buboes, right? So bubonic plague is one where you have started having fever, and then chills are also there, you have weakness, and everything is associated with swollen lymph nodes, right? This is only attack up to lymph nodes, but then it spreads out into blood portal system, where internal bleeding and weakness and immunity attacks, everything could be there. That is a septicemic plague. And then ultimately when it goes with the respiratory system, that means attacking your lungs. So the moment you come to lungs, you straight away say that cough, inflammation in the respiratory tract, and then shortness of breath, hoarse voice, right? Hoarseness of throat, everything would be there. Right, children? And then prevention, when we know that it is a vector-borne disease, you just keep away all those vectors. Had it be your home where the rats are there, cockroaches are there, use the insect repellent, and sometimes the fleas are there in the pets. So try to keep the pest away from the fleas. I mean, you immunize them basically for that flea, and always wear gloves so that you are not coming in direct contact with the pet, because you have to reduce the chances for bacterial entry. Right, children? These were the diseases that were to be added, and my bad, that last one is the correction. If you have to see that during megasporogenesis, when I taught you today, only some student brought it forward. So in megasporogenesis, the megaspore, we know that megaspore mother cell undergoes meiotic division, forming a linear tetrad. And by mistake, I told you that the micropyle, that the cell which was near to micropyle actually survives. No, most of the angiosperms, they have the cell which is nearest to the chaliza is surviving there and converting into the embryo sac, right? Though we cannot rule out the possibility of micropylar, the cell present at the micropylar end to be surviving, because many Enothora and many other are there where such incidents occur. But what you have to realize is that when we have to generalize about most of the angiosperms, at that time we have to say chaliceal end. The cell nearer to the chaliceal end survives and converts into embryo sac. Right, children? I'm concluding this video here, followed by is the life cycle of Plasmodium, and then I'll be also starting with a small introduction of non-infectious diseases with the disease cancer. Right? Thank you.